Hey everybody, welcome back to Horror Trans. My name is Stephanie Bree. I am a transgender woman. I talk about all things horror. This week's Horror Icons is probably not going to be a very long video. As you can tell by the title, it's sharks. Sharks are a staple of the horror franchise. They're a whole genre of movie. The Shark Attack movie is its own thing. And pretty much 99.9999999% of them are Jaws ripoffs. Occasionally, you'll get an oddball like Sharknado or Two Headed Shark Attack or Sharks of the Corn or some rubbish like that. But for the most part, they're just fucking Jaws ripoffs. Most of the time, that's all they are. What makes the shark an interesting horror movie villain is it's not really a villain. It's just a fish. It's just a hungry fish. It has no ill will towards anyone. It just wants to eat, and you happen to smell like food. So it wants to eat you because, it's got to eat. We all do. Sharks are also interesting in a roundabout way just because, by their very nature, they're not very threatening. You have to actually get into a body of water that a shark has access to before it can even be a threat. So, a swimming pool, or a small lake, or a river, or a creek, those generally don't have sharks in them. So, you can be safe. And if the shark is coming at you, as long as you can get to the beach, unless it's some weird space mutant land shark, you're safe once you get to the beach. Most of your shark attack movies tend to be a lone shark, generally speaking, hunting in a singular body of water. Sometimes it accidentally swims in where it ain't supposed to be, like SeaWorld, for example, in one of the Jaws sequels. Or sometimes people go out on a boat and they get stranded on a desert island in the middle of nowhere and they're surrounded by a two-headed shark. And they're getting picked off one by one by the two-headed shark. And if you really want to go cornball, there's three-headed shark attack. But I mean, yeah. If you're watching a movie called Three-Headed Shark Attack, you know what you're getting yourself into. Okay? So, don't cry to me if you get a migraine from watching that movie. And for the love of God, do not watch the Sharknado films. That being said, there are still some really good shark movies. Jaws, obviously, is the king of shark movies. But you also have Deep Blue Sea, and you also have The Meg, and The Meg 2, which are also pretty good. I know it's a very short list. But hey, I mean, it is more than one. So, for what it's worth, there is that. That being said, even though sharks are not in real life aggressive by nature, they are still dangerous by nature in real life because, if you get in their space, they will defend themselves. And sometimes that means chomp, chomp, chomp. Because that's the only way they have to defend themselves. So I hesitate to call sharks villains because that's not very fair to the shark. But in the context of a movie like Jaws, yeah, the shark is kind of a villain. But really, it's just a hunter looking for food, and these people are hunting it. So it turns into, a predator defending itself and its right to live. So nothing wrong with that. In this case, in the instance of Jaws, for example, or the Meg as another example, the humans are the villains. Because really, the shark did nothing wrong. They shouldn't have hunted down and killed the shark. They only do that for getting revenge for eating a little boy. Which, by the way, they weren't interested in hunting down the shark for eating a naked teenage girl. No. But as soon as they ate a little boy, all hell breaks loose. Gotta kill the shark. I don't know. I suppose that could be an example of misogyny where, the boy's life is more important than the woman's life. You know, it is the 70s, after all, and it was made by men. So, there is that. But your shark movies don't always tend to be pure horror movies. They're more like, kind of like action adventure films in a way, with, just a scary beast. They're more like creature features in a way, where people are going to die, and they're probably going to die in very bloody, very gruesome manner. But at the same time, by and large, your shark movies generally aren't that scary. In fact, I think out of all the shark movies I've seen, which is a lot, I would say Jaws is the closest one to actually being scary, and even it's not really scary. Especially if you live in the desert, in the mountains, in the middle of a continent like I do. I'm got no reason to fear sharks because there is a very realistic possibility I'll never encounter one. So there you go. I mean, sharks, they are monsters, kind of, but they're not like villains necessarily. So, pretty cool. They're cool beasts. I like them.